think there's too big of a rift between the parties as far as ideologies. You have socialism on one side and capitalism on the other side, and they don't mix.
Call it democratic socialism or just plain socialism. Either way, it doesn't fly for millions of Americans. Joining me now, former South Carolina Congressman Trey Gowdy, who is chairman of the House Oversight Committee, also a Fox News contributor back there in his home state of South Carolina. And I wondered if you could give us a flavor, Trey, of when people in the South think about socialism, what comes to mind?
Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba. When we hear socialism, we hear guaranteed outcome, and what we really want is a guaranteed fighting chance. Dana, as you know, in South Carolina, you can flunk out of elementary school and become a United States Senator like Tim Scott. You can be the daughter of Indian immigrants and rise to be the governor and the ambassador to the United Nations. You can be arrested at a lunch counter in Orangeburg and become the majority whip in the U.S. House like Jim Clyburn. So South Carolinians just want a chance. We don't want a guaranteed outcome. Just give us a fighting chance.
I read an article today. There was a Democratic state party official there in South Carolina who was quoted saying that how are they supposed to explain democratic socialism if Bernie's at the top of this ticket if nobody else, including Bernie Sanders himself, can't clearly define what it means either?
Well, I mean, he took a crack at it the other night in the debate, and I had to go Google it to watch it again to make sure he really said it. I mean, his idea for the inner youth is for them to legally sell marijuana. I mean, I want our inner youth to be the next Ron McNair, who was an African-American astronaut. I want our inner youth to be the next Jim Clyburn, the next Bakari Sellers, the next Steve Benjamin, who's the mayor of Columbia and happens to be in a different political party, but he's a friend of mine. I don't want the next Pablo Escobar. So if Bernie's idea for employment in the inner city is for everyone to get stoned and listen to Pink Floyd, that's not going to work in South Carolina.
I know the state well. I don't think so either. I want to show you two polls. This is a Fox News poll. This is nationally. Bernie Sanders, since January, has improved by 8 points. Since January, up to 31%. The next highest is Biden, though he's actually lost 8 points in that same amount of time. Bloomberg at 16% with a +6. And then I also noticed this, though, in the Fox News poll. How many Democrats would refuse to support Bernie Sanders against President Trump? And that would be 18%. That was also 18% for Mike Bloomberg. And I just think when the Democrats think about going up against President Trump, especially if they want to try to win the South, how will that go for them?
I don't think there's any Democrat in the field that can beat Donald Trump in South Carolina. That's just not going to happen. But Bernie Sanders certainly is not going to be able to do so. I mean, to the extent he's polling well now, it's because people like the word equality. I mean, who doesn't like the word equality? But when you peel back what Bernie Sanders really wants, it is not improving the country. It is radically transforming the country. And most people in South Carolina, regardless of their political ideation, understand we can be better. We can do better as a country, but we don't want to be Venezuela or Nicaragua or the other countries that he has compared favorably to the country he's now running to lead. That's not what we want to be.
Congressman, former Congressman, I wanted to ask you one last question. Are you glad that now you get to comment about politics and you don't have to be running for office in politics?
Yes, ma'am. I became so much smarter when I actually don't have to vote and I don't have to do anything else. I do respect people who are still in public service on both sides of the aisle.
I know you
but
do.
I've never been happier being out.
And we're happy to have you as one of our colleagues. Congressman Trey Gowdy, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.